Hey, Brandon Waslaki here with my brand new blog series about what I do with my life group, my boys' life group for our church, the fourth and fifth graders. This is just going to be a weekly show of the things we do, what we experience, and maybe you can grab a couple tips for your group. By no means do I have all the answers to anything, but it's just a way for me to kind of reflect on what I'm doing with the group, how we can improve it. Just we'll go from there. I just want to share our night tonight. We meet on Wednesday nights from 5 to 6, and sometimes we do a Bible study, sometimes we do some community stuff, sometimes we just hang out. I've been running this group for about 2 months now. My friend Mike Kane, shout out to Mike out there. He comes, and this guy is so solid. He speaks truth into the kids, and that's what we need. That's kind of how I came about to taking this position, volunteer position on our church. I was at a men's retreat, and Brian Brent, who's an amazing speaker, was talking about how men in our church need to be leaders for our youth. And in that moment, I knew it was my calling to be in charge of this group. I have a fourth grader myself, a son, Hayden. He's 9. He's in the group. At the time, one of our friends, Deanna, she was running the group, and she'd ask me, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Nope." I'm a teacher, so I work with fourth graders all day. I don't want to come home and work with fourth graders again. But when Brian Brent was talking about that men need to be better leaders in our community, I'm like, you know what, I have to do this. And then during a small group time, another man in our church, Lucas, he's just talking about, why do the women in our church get this and these men, we can't get it? Like, what do we need to do? So I knew, hey, Brandon, you need to step up, you need to do this. So that was end of November I started being in charge of this group, and it's now January, so we've met for about 2 months. And back in December, we did like a hot chocolate for our community. So what I did was went and just bought some, instant hot chocolate, heated it up, put some milk in it, whatever. We were very, friendly to those with allergies. We did a milk one and a water one. Just makes a lot of variety. We like variety. And we just made some flyers, sent them out, saying, "Hey, we're having hot chocolate over here. We're our boys' life group. If you like to come over for prayer, awesome. We'd love to pray for you." So we sent that out. Some people came over for hot chocolate. No one really needed prayer, or at least admitted they wanted prayer that night. That's what we did that night. It was a great night. Fast forward to tonight. The last 2 weeks we've been working on memorizing some scripture for our Sunday school class that meets every Sunday during our second service from like 10:30 to 12:30. Our friend Sarah runs that. I go and I help her out with that. So we've been working on memorizing this Bible verse. Our church is doing a 21-day fast. So this Bible verse is part of it. And this last Thursday, I was at the G300 men's event, which is an incredible story. Justin McEntee, a man at our church, it's just been hearing from the Lord within the past 5 months or so to start a movement in Orange County for men of the Lord. And it's such an incredible story. I'll put a link down in the description below, so click on that. But it's just at that event, one of our speakers, Reverend Whitlock, was talking about how he's the lead pastor of the First AME Church in Irvine. He's talking about how many times he's approached by people saying, "Oh, I want you to be my pastor, this and that. Come meet my pastor," and the pastors never reach out to him. A woman by the name of Rachel from our church actually went and visited his church and said, "I want you to meet my pastor." Reverend Whitlock was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." People say it all the time. So our lead pastor, our campus pastor, Chad Halliburton, actually reached out to Reverend Whitlock, and they met and they become fast friends. And Reverend Whitlock comes to our church, Chad Halliburton goes to their church, preaches. So the two church communities have come together. And the thing that Reverend Whitlock said on Thursday night that really stuck out to me was we need to be activators in our faith. So we need to activate. We need to be public with our faith. And that kind of stuck with me all weekend. I'm like, what does that, what does that mean for this boys' life group, fourth and fifth graders? What does it mean for them to be public, displayers of their faith? What does it mean for them to activate? So Monday night I was, sitting at home, and I just got this message saying from the Lord saying, hey, this Wednesday, don't do that memorizing the Bible verse. Like, let the kids do it at home. You are to go out into your community, like cold call prayers. Like, just go out to people's doors, knock on their doors, and say, do you need prayer for anything? So that's what we did tonight. We had 4 boys show up. They didn't know what was happening. I just said, make sure you bring a jacket, and we went out and in my community. So there's 4 or 5 streets in our little track here. So we went to the street that's furthest away where I don't know anybody, in case things went awry. So we went out there and knocked on the first house. No one was home. Knocked on the second house. A woman was home. She said, no, no thanks, I don't need prayer. We're just like, oh, that's fine, that's fine. And we really spoke with our boys about being respectful on the way there. Don't walk on people's grass. When you knock on someone's door, just give a good knock. You don't need a machine gun. Brrr, we found out that 3 knocks is good. Perfect. All I need is 3 knocks. 3 solid knocks will get the door answered every time. So the third door we went up to, the mom didn't really quite understand what was happening, but she said, okay, what does all that entail? We're like, well, if anyone and the boys have this whole thing they're saying, and at one point they just kept saying Rock Harbor Mission Viejo. He said like 3 times in a row instead of like explaining what we were doing, because they were nervous. And we said, well, if there's anyone in your family that needs prayer, we're just here. We'd love to pray for them. And she said, yes, my daughter has a cold. So we stopped right there and we prayed for her, and then we moved on. We went down that street, up the next street and around. A couple people answered our door saying, oh, we're already blessed enough, we don't need prayer tonight. And some people just didn't answer, and some people just said no thank you. It was great for our boys to see that not everyone is going to say yes, not everyone's going to say no, not everyone's even going to answer the door. So it was just a great day. And so then we got around the side, and we met this man named Kern, and he said, oh, I go to church and this and that. We're like, oh, do you need anything to be prayed over? He says, well, my house, we had a leak, and we're trying to get the floor repaired, but it's taking a while, so we'd love prayer for that. So our boys stopped and prayed for him. And afterwards he said, no one's ever done this before. No one's just come up to our door and says, do you need prayer? A lot of times, you associate, religions or religious people or churches going up to doors, knocking on the doors with their pamphlets or flyers, trying to, whatever their goal is. And he said, no one's ever done this, where we just come and ask for prayer. I'm like, yeah, we just kind of heard this message, this is what we need to do. He's like, thank you for doing this. And I said, yeah, if you ever need anything, I'm down the street. My family just moved into this neighborhood. We're down the street, so we'd love to, help you out if you need anything. So he said, great, so I'll go back and check on him, a little bit. And so then the last person we went and saw was one of our neighbors that we actually know, and we saw them when we were going out. I waved to them through the window. When we came back, the shutters were closed. We're like, oh, they must know we're out. We're out doing something, right? We're not selling anything. We're not even trying to, we're not trying to sell cookies or peanuts or popcorn or anything like that. We're selling some prayer. We're selling the Lord. So the last people said, yeah, my father-in-law just had heart surgery, and our boys stopped right there, and 2 boys actually prayed over the father-in-law, and it was just a great moment for our boys to just experience that. We're so happy that they're able to see that if you put yourself out there in faith and proclaim it to the world, amazing things can happen. So I don't know what's going to happen based on these 3 prayers that we said tonight, but who knows? Something amazing might happen, and who knows where the journey will take us. Next Wednesday night, we have our prayer night for our kids. Every Wednesday, our church does a prayer night. This Wednesday just happens to be the kids' prayer night, so the kids are going to come with the parents, and we're just going to pray for the kids will pray for us, and we will bring the list of names we got from our walk around and we'll pray for them as well. That was it. That's what we did tonight. Pretty fun night. I can't wait till next week. Looking forward to praying with the kids and just where we go from there. If there's anything you need prayer for, click on the link to fill out our prayer form, and we will pray for you. And you know, there's nothing the Lord can't do. You know, and one of the things we've talked about recently is that even if the Lord doesn't answer your prayer or doesn't heal you, He still comforts you in those times. So don't be afraid to say yes to prayer when someone asks for it, and always be specific. You know, just tell the Lord exactly what you want. Have that conversation. All right, thank you for watching, and have a great day, and we'll see you next time.